Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the main card of UFC 184 right now with our returning guest, Nick Kalikas, professional MMA odds maker and consultant for numerous high-profile sports books. And our calling guest, also from MMAOddsBreaker.com, is MMA analyst Brian Heminger. All right, Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington, the second fight we're going to talk about right now. Identical odds to the Rousey fight, right? Holm minus 900, Pennington plus 600, and in this one it's a different situation. In Rousey and Zingano also undefeated. Here Holm is undefeated, Pennington 5-4, but Pennington got a nice submission win in her last fight. The question is, just how outclassed is Pennington here? Holm, obviously an awesome striker, but she did have a broken arm in her last fight. She's also 7 years older. I don't know, is this like a Rocky type situation? Are people just dismissing Pennington and they shouldn't be? Brian Heminger, what do you think?
Well, the only real Rocky situation in this fight for me is the fact that Raquel Pennington's nickname is Rocky.
Right.
I think that this is Holly Holm's fight to lose. The only thing here is she is a bit untested. She hasn't fought in the UFC yet. She basically bounced around a lot of regional promotions, so this is her first real true test, and Raquel Pennington should should provide us an opportunity to see just how good Holly Holm really is. I mean, she was a champion boxer and who has switched over to MMA, and she trained at a great gym with Greg Jackson's, and I think that this is Holm's fight to lose. But again, there's a lot of things that we don't know coming into this fight, and this will answer a lot of questions, especially on whether or not Holm is deserving of an opportunity to fight Ronda Rousey if Rousey retains her title.
If you're saying there's a lot of things that we don't know coming into a fight, doesn't that make you very nervous with a huge favorite like that and make you lean dog or pass?
Yeah, it actually does, especially with how big of a favorite Holm is, considering the question marks. So I would definitely recommend not betting Holly Holm here. You just don't know yet. She has had some really great moments in her career so far, but Raquel Pennington is tough as nails, and she could pull off some surprises here, especially because we haven't seen a lot of Holly Holm's ground game.
Right.
And with Pennington coming out with that submission victory in her last fight, if this fight goes to the canvas, maybe things could get interesting.
All right, well, Nick Kalikas, the public bet against the big favorite, Ronda Rousey, so far in that fight. Have they been betting Holm here? I know she's not as big of a name, but there is a lot of hype surrounding her, though.
Yeah, this one's going the other way. I opened it too low. I opened it minus 505 for Holm. Wow. I honestly thought that was a fair spot, considering that Pennington's the best fighter that Holm's ever fought. But, I mean, I have been posting odds on Holly Holm throughout her career, even on some of the smaller shows, and a lot of times those odds are like minus 2,000. So I'm not, I guess, that surprised with the movement, but it did skyrocket up to 900. There's a ton of parlay action coming in on Holm right now, and of course some people bet it straight as well. They're max betting it, so the line kind of increased to 9-1, and I honestly, that's probably the way to go here. I know the writing's on the wall. Let's face it here. Why did they match Holly Holm up as the co-main event to Ronda Rousey? Right. And give her an opponent that she could realistically beat. So this is a good matchup for her. The UFC believes that Holm can win this fight. I mean, like I said, writing's on the wall here. They made this match for a reason. I think that Pennington could surprise everybody here. So it is a dog or pass situation because she's tough as nails. She has decent stand-up. She has a good clinch game. Like Brian says, she's going to have the advantages on the ground as well. I don't know if she can get it there because Holly Holm has shown some pretty solid takedown defense. And again, training with Jackson's camp, she's more than well prepared. And then on the feet, I mean, we talk about Holly Holm's boxing. I mean, it's definitely amazing. She's a world champion, but her kicks are actually pretty good too. She's a pure kickboxer. She has that kind of ability to do some damage, by throwing some head kicks and that sort of thing too. So her striking is very tremendous, and it's great to watch, really. She's a fun type of girl to watch, and I think the sky's kind of the limit for her. Now, I don't know how she would match up potentially against Ronda Rousey. That's a whole different story, but in this fight, it should be her fight to win or lose. If she should be able to outstrike Pennington, so I can see her getting the job done here. And again, I think the UFC is pretty much banking on her to get the job done here as well. But man, I think that you sit back and you kind of watch a fight like this, or even put a small flyer on the dog in this situation here, because Pennington has been under the radar for a while now. If you look at her resume, it's not very impressive with her win-loss record, but she's better than that indicates for sure. So this is not exactly an easy fight for Holm, but I do think she probably comes through. So it's a tough spot.
So the books are going to wind up needing Pennington and probably take a loss with a Holm win.
Exactly. That's, I mean, you can't avoid those scenarios from time to time, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. Hopefully, it's not a big loss, from spot to spot, but I'm expecting a small loss on this fight.
Well, let's talk about the total for a second, because right now I'm seeing, it's a 3-round fight, 2.5. The over is minus 205. The under is plus 165. And considering how great of a striker Holm is, Pennington got a nice sub win in her last fight. Do you think maybe the under might be worth a shot here? Or what do you think about that, Brian Heminger?
I'm not quite convinced. Women's fights don't usually have finishes nearly as often,
right,
unless it's a Ronda Rousey fight. And Raquel Pennington is very, very durable. She wasn't finished in her loss to Jessica Andrade. She wasn't finished when she fought Kat Zingano in Invicta. So she's very tough, and I think she can withstand a lot of the punishment Holm could potentially throw at her. And I don't really see Pennington finishing Holm either, unless, she pulls out a random submission. So the over is probably more likely than anything. And there's not a lot of value there either at the minus 205.
All right, so it sounds like this would be a complete pass for you as far as the bet's concerned?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, and there's no prop that you might find enticing?
Not for this one. Just too many question marks, at least heading in with the UFC debut of Holm.
Okay, interesting thoughts, guys. Thanks.